This video contains main story spoilers for FF14 Endwalker patch 6.4.
Fight with me for the salvation of all our souls.
Patch 6.5, Growing Light, will be a conclusion of the Endwalker storyline, in preparation for the release of the DawnTrail expansion in 2024. So before that, let's get caught up and be ready for this final battle. This is the main story catch-up for patch 6.4, The Dark Throne. We arrive in Thavnir and are greeted by Varshan. He informs us of the current situation. He's yet to hear from Y'shtola about the method of returning to the Void. As you may recall, our only Void Gate was destroyed by Rubicante. Estinian is still residing in Radzadhan as a guest of the Satrap. He's training as much as ever, but has also been putting a lot of focus into the training of Thavnir soldiers. We also see Zero has been keeping well, and has taken quite a liking to the local cuisine. She even invites us to dine with her, showing just how much she's opened up to us.
My usual please, but with this spice.
Zero, having spent most of her life without food, prefers hers to be very spicy, and she even has it shared with the establishment's patrons.
What is going on? What's happening?
Compliments of Mistress Zero, the Satrap's honored guest. We are serving a special curry for anyone who wishes to partake, but be warned, it is not for the faint of heart.
Sisters have mercy. The smell alone is... Ah! It burns! It burns!
But I for one love my spicy food. After we eat, we return to Megaduta to see Estinian. And well, the scene kinda speaks for itself.
Squid masala from the Mehane. I thought you might enjoy it.
I can't offer much in the way of entertainment, but make yourselves comfortable.
Shall we disrobe as well?
No. We simply caught our friend unprepared. He will make himself presentable at once, I am sure.
Once everyone is settled and dressed, Y'shtola and Nurionje arrive with some good news.
At last. We've been looking for you.
My friends, tell me, were you able to devise a way to return to the 13th?
I believe so. It required a visit to the moon, where I took the opportunity to enlist Orionje's assistance.
Let me break it down for you. We learned from Rubicante that Golbez resides on the moon of the 13th. Even if we travel back to the Void, we would still need to make the long journey from its surface to the moon. Y'shtola's plan is to open a large Void Gate on our moon, big enough for a great Wyrm to pass through. After all, once we find Azdaja, we need a Void Gate large enough to bring her home.
After all, our gate must be large enough to accommodate another great worm.
This also offers us a tactical advantage, in that Vitra can come with us in his true dragon form. Their plan, however, while simple sounding, has two big requirements. The first is gathering a colossal amount of Aether to fuel the gate, and the second is gaining the permission of the Garleans to reactivate the Tower of Babel.
If all are in agreement, then let us set to work.
We decide to tackle the former first. We travel to Charlian and meet up with Kryl and Ernville.
Well now,
Now, if it isn't two of my dearest friends. As for the other two, I don't believe we've had the pleasure.
We informed them of the entire situation, about Golbez, the threat to the star, and our plan for the Void Gate.
An invasion from the 13th. Must the stakes always be so dramatic?
If Gleaners collected world-ending crises, you could make quite a name for yourself in our profession.
The reason we are here to speak with them is to procure the necessary aether to channel through the Tower of Babel. Before we venture to the Ethereal Sea, and before Hydaelyn gifted us the Mother Crystal, Sharlayan planned to power the Ragnarok using aether gathered from a nearby isle known as Ham, a place you can find the Aether Font, a wellspring of etheric energy. To access it, however, we need the Forum's permission.
Very well. The students of Baldessian recognize your endeavors as combating a grave threat to the world. As representative, I hereby pledge our full assistance.
While Krall negotiates with the Forum for access, we travel down to Labyrinthos to look for a method of gathering and transporting the aether we require. Happily, the engineers that worked on the Ragnarok provide us with the means of doing so, in the form of aether tanks. With the method procured, we hear from Fortuno that the Forum has granted our request to travel to Ham, but they do ask that we slay any beasts we find there, as they prove to be a direct threat to any research done on the Isle. As we prepare to set off for the Isle of Ham, we are greeted by yet another old friend.
Forgive me my delay. Urianger tells me we have a host of exciting new tribulations to face.
Together, we sail to Ham, and make our way through waves of beasts and fiends, all drawn to the Aether Font. With the Octomammoth chased away, Kokol arrives with an airship and aether tanks.
Much obliged for clearing the way. We'll get to work at once.
While they tend to their task, Zero and Thancred get acquainted.
Everything seems to be proceeding apace. I dare say you would have been fine without me.
Why would you say such a thing? You are not bound by contract or the threat of force, and you gain no advantage by devaluing your own contribution. Yet you must be bound by something to speak thus. What is it?
What binds me? A belief, I suppose. Born of our shared struggles. No matter where my comrades go, I have faith they will be fine. For I know that they will walk their chosen path as surely as I walk mine. I trust them, in short. Trite though it may sound.
Trust. I remember the word. How long has it been since last I used it? It had no place in my dealings. Not with other Voidsent, and certainly not with Xenos. Not even in the time before darkness engulfed the world. Full often did Memoriates betray their own, corrupted by the very power they wielded. You could trust no one but yourself. Alone we fought, and alone we fell. I wouldn't know how to trust. Is there some trick to it?
Just stay close to this one. You'll learn in no time.
After this, Thancred and Urianger allude to a client of theirs, one who is seeking out Archons such as them. We don't know what this request is, but if I was a betting man, and when it comes to lore you know I am, my guess is the client is from Tural. Kukul meanwhile has completed his task.
Where were you planning on putting these to use? We could deliver them by airship, see? Provided that ain't too far.
We would need them transported to Garlemald, to the Tower of Babel.
Ah, that's a long old journey. Too long for a direct flight. Tell you what, we'll send them over with the scheduled shipment of provisions headed that way.
With the Aether procured and on its way, now comes the tricky part, gaining the permission of Garlemald for the use of the Tower of Babel. As expected, our friends supported our request, but there is an issue. The Tower of Babel has been a source of misery for the Garlean people, and any activity from it would bring about panic. As such, we need to work out a suitable arrangement for its use, while also informing everyone within sight of it that its activation is harmless and not a repeat of the past. This proves to be another challenge, however. Garlemald is still in a state worse for wear, and still heavily reliant on the Contingent and the Eorzean Alliance. What's more, its old leadership, at least those that remain, are still stuck in their old ways. While negotiations begin, we are tasked with helping out wherever we can. Part of this leads us to a station refuge similar to Tertium, where Garlean elites reside. What we find is a much more lavish living condition that we see anywhere else in Garlemald, and it's even fueled by the same ceruleum we ourselves gathered from Lapis Manalis. In my eyes, this is a classic display of the rich and powerful living their best, while the poor and common folk have a much harder life. While they are at first non-receptive to our requests, everything works out thanks to Varshan. He plans to give the Garlean people new feet to stand on, in the form of a trade agreement between Garlemald and Radzat-Han. They would provide supplies to Garlemald. In exchange, we get to use the tower for our purposes, and also a sharing of Magitech to Radzat-Han. Since Magitech needs ceruleum to function and Garlemald controls the majority of it, this agreement will necessitate frequent trade between both parties. Not only that, this would open the door to even more trade with other nations, and best of all, this would allow Garlemald to stand proud once more. But as expected, the prideful leadership of Garlemald is not so easily swayed. But we do have allies in Garlemald.
Praise the sisters, you are safe.
Don't think I'm indebted to you. I never asked for your help.
You love Garlemald dearly, Lord Metius. That much is plain. But you're not alone in that. We all mourn what has become of our homeland. Bristle at having to rely upon outsiders simply to survive the cold. Even now, I struggle with fear and uncertainty. Day after day, I ask myself, what is right? Where do we go from here? I've yet to find the answers. But I won't stop looking nonetheless, and I won't avert my gaze from our grim reality.
Is there hope for us?
Aye, so long as we live. Garlemald lies in ruins, but the bonds between us will never be broken. We are the chain that connects generations past and future. You and I, it's links. Help us, Lord Metius, for all we have been and for what we may yet become. Please.
To be lectured by the younger, it ill becomes a man of my station. I will rejoin the talks at Tertium. Might I trouble you to escort me? Ere we part, I apologize for my discourtesy. I owe you my life, and I thank you.
This is a step in the right direction, but Zero has some questions about what just happened.
What is it?
You bound that man with trust, didn't you? That's why he did not require coercion to return.
I only told him what's been on my mind of late. But I wouldn't have done so, I think, if it weren't for the twins' influence. Trust is infectious, in a manner of speaking. When someone believes in you, it makes you want to believe in them, in others, in yourself. Perhaps it's because the magistrate felt that earnestness that he gave us a chance. As I did, after I was caught trying to steal provisions from the enemy. Trust comes easy in such company.
Little wonder my world is devoid of it. No one trusts in you, and so you trust in no one. And round the wheel turns. During the Contra Memoria, we had already come to judge one another based on strength and usefulness. You either used or were used. Those who rejected this rule didn't survive. My mother wanted to save the world, to fulfill the hopes of Memoria's good and true. After she died, I carried on her mission alone.
Alone? Didn't you have anyone to help you?
Almost. 2 men tried just the once. A swordsman and a mage, whom I met when passing through a village. They had saved the people there from corrupted Memoriates. When they learned our enemies were the same, they seemed heartened. They claimed to be soldiers of a kingdom called Baron, and were traveling the realm in search for means to end the Contra Memoria. They invited me to join them. I refused. How could I not, having learned the lessons of my world? Those who would work with others always have their own motives. I would not place myself at their mercy. I would not be forced to submit. I expected some manner of outburst, some show of frustration at having failed to deceive me. But they simply watched me walk away. I didn't know what to make of it then, but now Perhaps they shared a bond of trust. Perhaps they were the last ones left who dared. Perhaps they hoped I was like them too. Perhaps it was just an offer and nothing more. I continued fighting alone, but ultimately I was undone, overwhelmed by enemies that had banded together. I was cold, in pain, wishing desperately that someone would save me. And as I lay there in solitude, I felt it happen. The breaking of our world. I had a chance to learn about trust, and forsook it. I never had the power to save my home single-handed. I should have accepted their invitation. Had I joined them as I've joined you, I might not have had to face the end of the world alone.
Whatever may have happened in the past, you're still here, Zero. Alive. So long as you're alive, there will always be hope, no matter how bad things get. What you couldn't do yesterday, you might still do today. Think about it. It's plain that you've forged bonds with those around you.
As they announce our plans for the tower to the public that are gathered, and of a new trade agreement with Azdaja, they are receptive to our requests and especially to the new agreement.
Let us take a moment to review matters as they stand. Having procured sufficient stores of ether, we may now channel the requisite energy unto the moon via the Tower of Babel. Our work on the star is complete. However, we have yet to receive word from Y'shtola as to the state of the lunar preparations. Let us join her above and lend what aid we may. Ere we set forth, however, Y'shtola did bid me relay a message to thee. As thou art well aware, a key objective of our mission is the extraction of thy sister Azdaja from the Void. Held captive for millennia and divested of an eye, she is like to be severely weakened. To make good her escape, she shall require aid. Aid that is best provided by a fellow great Wyrm.
You would have me go in my true form. Very well. Like our sire, we great Wyrms are capable of traversing the great expanse. The journey will take some time, but I shall take myself to the moon. And until such time as we find Azdaja, I would entrust her eye to your keeping. Will you do this for me?
We shall contact you via Link Pearl once all is in place on the moon. You need but follow Y'shtola's instructions.
Understood. We'll be ready.
Take care, Zero.
It will be the briefest of homecomings. I'll be back before you know it.
In mare elementorum, then. Go well.
On the moon, preparations are well underway for the opening of the Void Gate, as well as a defense against any Void Sent invasions. After all, the gate we are about to open will be large enough to allow a great Wyrm to travel, but could also allow the most powerful of void scent into our world.
The knowledge of our forebears has brought us far, as has our own. And with our knowledge and resources, we shall construct a void scent containment seal on a heretofore unseen scale.
Containment seal? Then thou wouldst make use of...
Aye, a tried and tested means of holding dark entities at bay is readily available here. 'Twould be remiss of us not to employ it. We shall reforge the brands that Xenos and Fandaniel destroyed. That which held even Zodiac shall more than suffice for void scent of any persuasion.
The Watcher is already hard at work, tending to the most critical parts of the brand's restoration. There are, however, a number of concerning factors that remain. With your help, I'm sure we can resolve them.
We tend to what tasks we can while our allies prepare the ritual and containment seal. This primarily consists of helping the Loporrits in preparing their supporter units to combat void scent, should they be required.
Even now, as we pursue new dreams, aiding the people of Aetheris remains our greatest joy. So you can count on us, ever and always. Right, so, we originally deployed these supporters to patrol the moon and keep it safe. They've never tussled with void scent before, but with sufficient data, they ought to hold their own against the ghastly fiends. Practical, tactical data acquired in the moment, and who better to give the supporters an educational thrashing than the champion of Aetheris?
I believe I would make a better instructor. Not only have I fought void scent, I am one.
Just stand there. Engage! 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 Engage!
That'll do!
Pray forgive our comrades' enthusiasm. May I inquire as to how long the repairs will take?
On an ordinary day, I'd say no less than 5 carats briskly consumed. But if you were to provide us with encouragement... we just might be able to do it in 2.
This I leave to you.
With all the preparations in place, we put the entire plan into action.
Can you hear me? We've just finished restoring the brands. Apologies for the wait. The preparations here are finally complete.
Excellent. The Tower 2 is activated, but give the word and we will begin channeling the ether.
Very well then. Make it so.
The moment of truth.
the sisters!
Oriange, commence your invocations. 'Tis time to open our gate. Beginning to form. Quickly, activate the brands. The gate is open, and the seal appears to be in place.
Let's see how well it holds.
The test subject arrives right on cue. A void scent passes through the gate, but is also trapped by the seal.
What an enormous gate! Lord Golbez will be eager to hear of this! So this is the promised land! The land of boundless ether!
Vitra then arrives just in time.
I see all proceedeth apace. Remarkable.
Indeed. Just this moment, a void scent emerged from the gate, by which we may safely assume it leads to the 13th.
It's incredible, Y'shtola. Truly incredible. Oh, what an honor it is to have been part of this historic achievement.
Now, I must stress, it was because we sought the void that we succeeded. Pleased though I am to have my theory proven, the secrets of travel to other reflections still elude us. Even so, in the reality that lies beyond the 8th umbral calamity, there are those who found a way to reach the first. I will not rest until I do the same.
One step closer to fulfilling your dream, eh?
Just a step. Many more remain to be taken. Which further motivates me to forestall a void-sent invasion. So come, let us set forth, to find Azdaja and put an end to Golbez's plot.
Climb upon my back. I shall take us to the gate.
As we did discuss prior, I shall see the alchemists safely home, then together with the Loporrits maintain vigil over the gate.
May the sisters watch over and keep you safe.
Into the void once more.
This is the moon of the 13th.
It is. Ever since the flood, it has been a sanguinary orb in the sky.
The gate works perfectly and delivers us to the surface of the 13th moon. Things are quiet, however. Too quiet. Nonetheless, we begin our search on the ground, while Vitra searches the air. All paths, however, lead us to the crater in the center.
The chasm has caught your attention as well.
I too sense something here. This pit much resembles the cradle of darkness on our moon, where Zodiac was once imprisoned. If this place serves the same function, then a fragment of his power must have been sealed in the depths. Strange, though. When Zodiac perished in the source, I presumed that every aspect of him was thus unmade, and his power scattered. But it's unmistakable. The darkness that permeates this abyss. Could a trace of him yet remain? Or is it something else?
I hear thee, sister. I hear thee. Climb on, my friends. Azdaja is here, within this chasm.
We dive into the chasm below, and after many millennia, Vitra and Azdaja are finally reunited.
You were entrusted with Azdaja's eye, were you not? Who on? O wak hom urte.
Li tau an kin sis, dies ishom infesk. Man ik hes in an, ka an, fesk wes an ul in.
She confirms that the chains that bind her are of Golbez's design, and how she ended up this way.
Les I kol an, zdis sorn I rum, snar tiamat an. Ta hes an elgol osk in. Ses kidir in an, kasta an. Sta in es katao tai an, es an stra in sorn.
The truth of her survival and why she remained a captive is finally revealed. Should we break her seal, she would be consumed by darkness. Our attention thus turns to Golbez, whom we track to a lone grave on the moon's surface.
A memoria. But whose?
The echo grants us a vision of Zero's past, or more accurately, the past of the being who is locked in the memoria. One of these strangers appears to be Golbez.
I can't bring myself to pray for the unrepentant. You're a nobler man than I.
If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way.
Even when we share the same goal, we can't overcome the mistrust. Such is the way of things, the wisdom of our era. We'll make do, old friend. We have accomplished much already, and another person may well have been more of a hindrance than help. Now then, our work here is finished. His Majesty has summoned us, so let us not delay. To Baron!
Just as our vision fades, Golbez finally shows his face.
So, you have come. You who would oppose our crusade.
Tranquil.
You. I know you.
Is that so? From the world before, I dare say. You are the Memoriat who vanquished my minions, correct?
And what if I am?
Then I would bid you join me.
Fight with you? More like fight as your pawn. I refuse to be bound ever again. I fight only for myself, and for those in whom I trust. My friends.
I see. A pity. It is for the dragon that you have come, yes? Never did I imagine that you would reach this place and gift me a golden opportunity. Long as it has been imprisoned, this dragon has grown feeble and weak, its spirit extinguished. Your coming has served to rekindle her forgotten hope. Her yearning to be free, to return home. That is the key to our deliverance.
The darkness is ravaging her. She's becoming a void scent.
Rise, O shadow dragon, and obey.
We face off against Golbez in order to end his threat to Aetheris and save Azdaja.
Come, face me. Our crusade, then come. But know that none shall deny us salvation. This place shall be your tomb. Rime-kissed blades. I will suffer no obstacles. Such is your power. Come forth, my servant of shadow. With abyssal dark and hero's blade, I bring my people liberation. You shall know true terror! My power.
We best both him and the Shadow Dragon, but we overlooked something important.
What's happening? You may have bested me, but not quickly enough. Too late will you look to the chasm. Darkness made manifest once abided in the depths of this abyss, until one day it dispersed in a haze of ether. In the absence of the great flow, that ether has nowhere to return. And so it has coalesced, giving rise to a mighty void scent. Now feast. Feast upon this dragon and its ardent longing for home with it. From the convergence of ancient and newborn, an entity without equal shall emerge, one who shall tear down the barrier between worlds.
Zeromus, awaken!
No matter how powerful, a void scent can be sealed in Memoria.
As Zero is repelled, the Memoria crystal we picked up earlier is dropped into the chasm to become part of Zeromus, just as Azdaja did.
Damn it. It's too strong.
Our warding scales may not hold. Not against a void scent born of Zodiac's ether.
We must retreat. Everyone to me.
Golbez was right. We won the battle but lost the war. And now we have a void scent coursing with the power of Zodiac, Azdaja and the void itself to contend with. But not all hope is lost for Azdaja.
Do you remember Chiriato and Farfarello? The cowardly pair of void scent that dwelled in my domain. Chiriato devoured Farfarello, and in so doing he inherited an all-consuming fear of Barbariccia. For as you know, when a void scent is devoured, it doesn't simply cease to be. Its soul persists within the devourer. And when a void scent dies, all the souls that harbored may break free to become individual entities once more. That is to say, by defeating Zeromus, we may yet save Azdaja. And to make certain that we do, we must remind her of who she is. When the time comes, you must call to her. Call with all your being.
Thy words give me heart, Zero. Thou hast my gratitude.
Then it's settled. Our objective is to defeat Zeromus. While it is unsettling that a void scent could be born of Zodiac's ether, its very nature may render it susceptible to the brands that once contained him. Did Urianger have aught to say? I see. If the seal may not hold for long, then haste is paramount.
I could barely go near it, never mind land a blow. So thick was the shroud of darkness. How do you propose we fight such a foe?
Simple. Against impenetrable darkness, we must wield resplendent light. And it just so happens, there is a world replete with light. The question of how we will harness that light, you may leave to me.
I shall be training if you have need of me.
Allow me to join you. I must become stronger for what lies ahead.
I shall not pass my time wallowing in despair. Using my vessel, I shall attend what preparations I may.
The stage is almost set, but we cut back to the void one final time to learn another truth. Seems the Golbez before us is not the one we saw in the Echo, yet intends to carry on his legacy. Seems the true Golbez was sealed in Memoria long ago, and his was the same Memoria which now resides within Zeromus. As to what this will mean for the battle ahead, we won't have to wait long to find out. But that is the main story catch up for patch 6.4. the Dark Throne.